Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here this evening, and I wanted to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Angeline Mitchell and her entire staff for putting on such an excellent conference, and we thank you for this. Because you see, the students that are here really do represent our future. I've been practicing, as Daryl said, for 43 years now, and it is time to pass the torch. And so we're looking forward to the day that you young people will be assuming that torch and moving forward in our struggle for human rights and equal justice under the law. As you heard, I'm a native of Marshall, Texas, and a product of segregated primary and secondary schools. During my high school years in the early 60s, the country's racial divide and the struggle for equal rights played out in the streets of Marshall. Sit-ins at the lunch counter of our local Woolworth resulted in many arrests. It was African-American attorneys from Dallas that came to Marshall to represent the Wiley College students. The image of the use of the fire hoses and dogs against those students who demonstrated and fought for our rights certainly left an indelible impression on me and helped to form my outlook as I started my practice of law. My parents wanted me to be a college professor. My father was a college professor at Wiley College, and I was to be a college professor. So that was my goal. I never thought about going to law school. My only interaction with a lawyer was when I saw the lawyers come to Marshall to defend the students. And I've always told students and other people, you cannot be what you cannot see. And so if you have not been around and witnessed what lawyers do, then you really cannot aspire to be one. Thus the importance of having the young people in the room today. So I went to the University of Denver, and there at the University of Denver, I was majoring in business. I went to college there for 4 years and did not have a class with another African American for 4 years. But it was those students there who inspired me and said, you know, you really should consider going to law school. And so my parents said, well, we paid for 4 years of college, and so we need a break. So what was I to do? So I took a position after graduating in March. I started college when I was 16, and my parents said that you had to go someplace where you had parental supervision. So I went to the University of Denver because my father was from Denver, my grandparents were there, and I was able to spend weekends with them. I could go to church with them, I could get my own allowance, and I could date high school girls from church. And so that was going to the University of Denver. But the students there all came from Chicago, New York, big cities, and so they said, you really should consider going to law school. And so I took a position at the Ford Motor Company in March of 1967 and started working there in logistics. And so my job was to actually ship cars. When they come off of the Ford assembly line, we put them on rail cars and ship them all around the country. And we actually had to spend a week working on the assembly line. I knew that day that that was not the profession for me. And so I started law school at night at Wayne State University School of Law in Detroit. It was a rigorous program. You went to school 4 nights a week, and I worked full-time at Ford. So I would get up every morning, 5:30, I'd be in the office by 6. I would study from 6 to 8. I would work from 8 to 5. I'd go to class from 6 to 10, and the cycle went on and on. I lost about 30 pounds, and my parents finally said, I think you really are determined to do this, and we need to figure out a way for you to do it. But luckily, I did well at Wayne State and was able to get a full academic scholarship to the University of Michigan. And so I transferred to Ann Arbor and went to the University of Michigan on a full scholarship and graduated from law school with 0 debt, which I understand is not easy to do these days. But you must remember, when I went to law school, it cost $900 a semester, or $1,800 a year. Today, the University of Michigan, for in-state tuition, is $52,000 a year. Out-of-state tuition is $54,000 a year. So what I was able to do then, we certainly could not do today. But I was fortunate, and not only that, when I finished law school, I had a job because Ford Motor Company had given me a leave of absence to go to law school. So I went back to Ford Motor Company and defended Ford Motor Company in what was known as Pinto cases. You guys probably don't even know what a Pinto is. But a Pinto was a little compact car that had the gas tank in the back, and it would drive around. And if you would, for some reason, if it was ever rear-ended from the back, it would explode. And so it was my job to defend the company in those lawsuits. Didn't like that. And so I left Detroit and came back home to Texas Instruments, and worked at Texas Instruments for about 15 years. And there I had an opportunity to do real estate law as well as contract law. It was during the time when TI came out with the calculator. You probably don't remember, but it would add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And that was a phenomenon new to the world, this little calculator. And we also had digital watches. You push the button and the numbers would light up. And so we were opening stores in malls all around the country, and I would negotiate those mall leases and so that we could go in and sell our products. So I did that for many, many years, and then I decided, I decided to go back and finish my PhD. That was a year I took off to do that. I thought that was important. I never wanted to be what is called ABD, which is all but dissertation. I had done the coursework years and years ago, but wanted to go back and finish my degree. And while I was at Texas Instruments, I should also mention that they paid for my master's in business administration because they felt that you would be a better lawyer if you could understand the business side of our operation. So they sent me to school to get an MBA, and I really thought that that was very wise on their part, and it really did help me to understand what Texas Instruments was all about. And so my point is that you never know how your career will progress. There will be forks in the road, you'll have to make decisions, and you'll have opportunities to do many different and diverse things. And so I did, after I finished my PhD, I taught at SMU, Southern Methodist University, for a year, and then had an opportunity to go and join Hughes & Lewis. Hughes & Lewis was a very, very large law firm which no longer exists today. It has since been rolled into K&L Gates. But Hughes & Lewis was a major firm in the state of Texas in the late 90s and early 90s. And we were headquartered in Dallas, but we had offices in Houston and in Austin. And so I was doing government affairs, government relations work out of the Austin office. What did that lead to? That led to me working on the campaign of Ross Perot for president. Go figure that. But Ross Perot was our biggest client, and so they said, you will work on this campaign. And so I worked on a campaign for Ross Perot for president. What did that do? That taught me, how to operate within the political setting. And so in 1996, I was then able to work on the campaign of Bill Clinton, which was his second term, which then led for an opportunity for me to go to Washington and have two presidential appointments. One as the Associate Administrator for Policy for Federal Highway Administration, and then as the Deputy Administrator for Federal Highway Administration, which was an organization that allowed me to oversee $60 billion in funds, number one. And number two, we had offices in every state, and I was able to travel around the world in Africa and all the African countries, representing the President of the United States, meeting with presidents of South Africa, President of Nigeria, President of Ghana. And in all of those experiences, you were there representing the United States as President of the United States. The point being, once again, from a law degree, your opportunities are unlimited for things that you can do. And I felt that it was a privilege, really, to get to work for the President. After that experience, working with the President, what do you do next? I simply came back to Dallas because I had no connections in Washington outside of the administration. So I came home to Dallas went back to what I knew best, teaching at the University of Texas at Dallas in the business school, and was chief of staff to the president of the university, and worked there until the opportunity came to go to Walmart. So it's been a very, very interesting career. I think that having worked in private industry, in academia, in a law firm, in government, I think I've touched most of the opportunities that you would have in practicing law. Now, let me say that I am proud of the opportunity to serve as chairman of the Board of Trustees at Wiley College. Wiley College is an HBCU in Marshall, Texas. I mentioned to you that my father taught there for 25 years, and we really became nationally acclaimed through the movie The Great Debaters. I don't know, I hope you all had an opportunity to see that movie. It was 1932 when our debate team actually beat USC in the national championship. Now in the movie they said it was Harvard University, but in real life it was USC. And based upon that movie, Denzel Washington and others gave money to the college, and we were able to reestablish our debate team, which now ranks number 4 in the United States. We are very, very proud of it. And I'm also very proud of the students that are here from Wiley. In fact, please stand up back there and let everyone see that we have a free law club at Wiley College, and they're going to be great, great lawyers. Darrell mentioned that I work at Walmart. I really do have an opportunity there to head up our diversity initiative for the legal department. We support organizations and events all across the country, and I really believe that we do a tremendous job there at Walmart to help our profession to be more diverse. Enough about me. Angeline asked me to just give you some points